How the hell are you, mate? You all right?
Am I right, yourself?
Yeah, man. Really, really good. Where you at, Milton Keynes?
Just in the hotel room.
Have you been there since, since you arrived? Have you not been able to go home?
I am allowed to go home, but it's too far to go backwards and forwards because I play tomorrow night. And
Yeah.
I played Thursday night. So I was kind of going home because obviously the missus is at home with Ben.
Yeah.
But I would have to come back down. I would have had to drive up Friday morning and then come back Saturday. But I would have had to practice Friday as well. So it's like 4 hours. So it would have been 4 hours drive back, gone for some practice. I've hardly seen the Ben anyway, and then I've got to come back doing the next day. So pointless, really.
So I thought stay there and try and get a bit of practice in. I saw Willow had put on that the trying to get a table is an absolute nightmare. Is it better now that the herd's been thinned, so to speak? But at first he said it was just absolutely brutal.
Obviously, as people are getting beaten gone home, it is easier. But at the start of the week, you're pissing in the wind generally. Like it's impossible.
It seems to be quite tough. But are you so now? If you like to go for a practice, do you still have to book in a few days in advance and stuff to get in?
You do. Like I couldn't get any booked for today because it was actually full. But I went doing. I got about an hour because I think some people just say I can't be bothered. I've got stuff to do, or if either booked further on and lost and went home.
Aye. So what about tomorrow? Have you pre-booked a little bit of time in for yourself?
I have got a couple of practices tomorrow. I've got one about 12 o'clock and then another one about 5 just before. So
yeah. Nice one. I was going to bring up lockdown, mate, but after I know that we might want to talk about Boris and his crazy tricks, but as everything that's happened, obviously I saw Paul Rinaldi put on, snooker hall for sale and all this. He's just, what we doing up north, mate? What's going on?
That's a joke, innit? It was absolutely nailed on that London wouldn't end up in tier 3, wouldn't it?
I know.
Absolutely nailed on.
They're allowed to go out. They're allowed to have a full Christmas, and we just all locked down with no club.
By the way, the population have probably got about 3-4 times as more people.
Yeah.
Than the of England, and you're trying to tell me the amount of universities down south as well, and you're trying to tell me that the rates low or not high enough to be in tier 3.
Yeah.
Not for me, like.
Yeah, it's not for me. No, I'm moving on.
I'm just simply not having it, like.
So, obviously, I watched your match against Mitchell on Thursday night. A good match. I mean, Mitchell Mann must be the sick of the sight of you. I think the last 2 weeks, within 2 weeks, you whitewashed them 5-0 at the German Masters, and then played them again. Do you think that had a bit of? Do you think you went into that match a little bit kind of after you'd whitewashed them only 2 weeks before?
Probably felt a bit deflated. Like I reckon I would if somebody just beat me like that. It's not ideal to be playing them a week or so later. You want to kind of bit of time to digest it, haven't you? Get your game back. I think it was important as well. After that happened, and I beat him in the German to kind of get a win in the Irish, and he lost in the Irish straight away. So I kind of knew he'd be struggling a little bit for confidence. He actually came out and played much better this time than he did the first time, to be honest.
Yeah.
I expected a tougher game first time round than I did second time round. A kind of swung run, really.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you knocked that twin in the third frame, I think, and then you kind of started doing making a lot of unforced errors, I felt, and then from then on, you were just kind of just getting in there and swooping and making them pay whenever he made them.
Was very important, that frame. I think it kind of broke the camel's back, but it stopped his momentum because obviously I'd won the first frame quite easy, and then the second frame, I'd played an aggressive safety. The balls are absolutely all over the shop, and he's flipped to red and made 70. So I knew to get my foot back on the pedal, stop that momentum there. Because if he somehow got a bit of confidence and went 80 next frame, then I'm 2-1, and maybe he's nicked an arm 3-1 down the interval, and I feel like I've done all the work. So as soon as I made 100, I thought it was very important. And then, to be fair, the frame after was even more important. He's got in, made 40 or something, and I've ended up clearing with 50 or something.
Yeah.
To firm needing a snooker. So that was big body blow just before the interval. That for me 3-1 down instead of 2 each.
The thing is, you weren't getting much run neither. Even a few times you tried to break the pack you screwed into the pack once with a great shot, and it seemed to hit 3 balls, and the whites seemed to go in the middle pocket, and it was just like, what happened there? And then he just wasn't able to capitalize. He gave him that opportunity, and he just he just couldn't. And then, like you said, the unforced errors came, and then before you knew, you were at the back of the table, and you were like, "Hang on a minute, you want to keep giving me chances like that? I'll put them to bed."
It's a funny one. Like the last couple of games, they haven't really split very well for us. But I'm struggling a little bit tip wise at the minute as well. It's a long story, but I'm struggling tip wise a little bit. So I'm waiting to get a new one on as soon as possible. Really.
Are you getting? What are you thinking? Just a different make altogether, or just trying to get it all changed around? Or
yeah, just the tip isn't reacting the way I want it to react. It's not biting the way I want it to bite. So ideally, if I had a few more days, or I'd have played earlier in the week, I would have probably played that game and cut it straight off.
Yeah.
Put another. So
and you've got like you say, tomorrow night, 10 o'clock. Is it 8 o'clock tomorrow night? 8 tomorrow? 7. Playing Shaun. Is it true you've only played Shaun once on the tour?
No,
I thought it was, because I was looking into it, and obviously you played him at the 2017 Indian Open, and a good win, 4-1 win for yourself. So it's, I mean, I know that you don't think of it like that, like, you know, you just take every game as it comes, but you know, you've played him once, you beat him once. He's had a bit of a crazy, to say he's had a crazy year last month or something. He went from not being able to hit the back on his break off to to knocking a maxi in the first round of the German qualifier. So you're kind of like, well, you know, he's
always capable of that, though, isn't he? He hasn't won the Triple Crown and many other ranking events, and up there is one of the best players that's lived. For any reason, he's up because he can do things like that.
Of course.
So, obviously, he's a fantastic player. World champion, UK champ, master champion, every other champion. He's won most things a few times, and so.
But the thing about you, though, Elliot, is like these games are these are the type of games that you love. Like this is what you buzz at this, and this is where it kind of brings it. It's not like no disrespect to any of the other players or the less ranked players, but whenever a big game comes with a big player, it just seems to kind of like light the fire for you, and you're like, right, I want this.
It was a bit of a shame last week, because obviously I played Ronnie and I just didn't get the same jitters as I normally do beforehand, because anybody there, I'd kill to have them back. Like,
I know,
it's horrible. Like,
well,
obviously, great to be like playing and have tournaments to play. And it is like, I am grateful to obviously have tournaments and be able to make money and whatever and pay me bills. But it just, from like a plain snooker point of view, it's nowhere near the same for me. Like, nowhere near. I think some people actually prefer it like that. Like, need to respect other players, but I think the ones that maybe might get a little bit overawed by crowds and that, they probably prefer it.
Yeah.
Not for me. What I practice for, what I play for. I love that buzz. And missing it, well, I just miss it so badly. I'd give anything to have it back. Even 100 people in there tomorrow would just like. I think I'm on the TV table as well.
Yeah.
I'm
sure a lot of the northern contingent will be rooting for you.
More than that.
But do you think that's maybe why, getting back to what you were saying there, a lot of the players that you normally wouldn't see get this far into competitions, maybe they're the ones who maybe can, you know, not bring the game out the most, but they seem to be able to do it a lot easier when the crowd isn't there. And that's why you're seeing these names coming through and people are going, well, that's a shock. And they're like, well, not really. It's not a shock, because he's great in practice, and really, in effect, it's not much difference from a practice game to being on here. The crowd must be, I mean, you've done it you've done it in front of big crowds and without a crowd there. So, you know, from your point of view, do you think that's probably why these lads are doing as well as they're doing without taking anything away from them?
Possibly. I think it just suits some people's personalities more than others. Obviously, we can all play the game, but I just think some people get a little bit overawed and that their thoughts do mad things to them.
Yeah.
Whereas I've got to have that little bit, like obviously Grace is on now. He's a lovely lad, and I think he's possibly too nice a lad. Like, to be in that environment, if it was chock full, I think, well, we could obviously win today, but I think he would have found it much harder with a crowd in there.
I think it's 3-3 at the moment. I was looking at it's 3-3.
He got the semis last week as well, but I just think for some of the lads further outside the box, it's a lot easier for them when there's nobody there.
Yeah,
I think a lot of them just don't like that environment, obviously because they're not used to it and they're apprehensive. And as I say, I just probably just didn't care enough. Like, the crowd, if they think I'm shite, they think I'm shite. But I'm gonna go for shots, and if I miss them, well, I missed them. But if I put them, then I know I've got every chance of winning.
Oh, yeah, I can't. So what's your plans for tonight then? Are you doing anything? Are we going for a bite to eat?
Watching
Or
the boxing. I'm watching the boxing. Big boxing fan, as you know. So
yes.
counting down the hours. I've got practice 7 till 1:30, and I'll be racing across. Back watch the boxing.
Well, I'll put a bet on, and whatever you do, don't look on my Facebook, because what I'll put a bet on, it's always the opposite. I do it more for fun. I'm like the worst gambler ever, but I do think Daniel Dubois is going to take him out early, and
I tell you what, the last 3-4 fights I've watched, you can ask me missus this as well, as a gospel. I've called it to the round. What would happen? Called it
well,
to the round. The last 4 fights I've watched, all 4 of them, I've told the exact round it's finished. If I was a betting man, I'd be a very wealthy man. But I think this is a very, very tough fight to call because it's a major clash in styles.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dubois hits very hard. Joyce takes a lot of punishment, but he still just doesn't really go anywhere. As I say, I'm torn. I don't think Daniel will fight the way he normally does, mate. I don't think he'll come out all guns blazing, because I think if he empties the clip in the first 3 rounds and doesn't get rid of him, he'll lose. I can't see Dan winning on points, really, unless he puts him down a couple of times.
So you think it's either a first, like an early knockout, or
no? I'm fancying more Dubois knockout, about 6 to 8. They be my rounds. So I think he'll be edgy at the start. I don't think he'll empty the clip the way he normally does the first 3 rounds. I don't think he can afford to do that, because if he doesn't get rid of Joyce in the first 3 rounds and you're knackered, he just keeps coming. Like, he just keeps coming and coming and coming. So if I was in Dubois' corner, I'd be saying, keep it nice and tight, find a range, don't go absolutely berserk and empty the tank and get him later on. Got to pick your shots better, I think.
Yeah.
Against Joyce, it's a massive step up for who he's been fighting. And he needs to pick his shots a lot better for me. But this will be his first big test, isn't he? There's a lot of hype behind him. So
there's a lot, because I think it's we're getting into that month of boxing. We've got AJ coming off. We've got all that. So everyone's getting like buzzing now, like looking forward to the boxing. So this, like you say, this is the first real big fight coming into like right close to December. So yeah, as a boxing fan myself, I'm buzzing, really looking forward to it. You'll be practicing tonight, man. You'll be like running around the table trying to get back.
Playing like Tep Chaya just to get it over with.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, mate, I'm not going to keep you for long. I just thank you for coming on, having a bit of crack with us. Good luck tomorrow. I will drop you a text later on about this Dubois fight and tell you to see if you did right or not. And obviously you're going to have the whole of the North behind you, as always. And I'll speak to you soon, bro. Thanks so much.
Good. Anytime. You're welcome anytime.
Speak to you soon,
Cheers.
pal.
See you later, pal.